Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our show, which is Famous Ethnic Chefs of St. George. And the first one we have today is going to be Chef Amy. This is the hearty crowd that showed up because we have a storm outside. It reminds me when Judy and I first moved to LA, as you'll see, we grew up in New York, but we moved to LA and lived there for 20 years. And I'll never forget one of the first weekends we were there, the weather woman got on and she said, "Bundle up, LA, it's 59 degrees out there." This storm is similar.
Well, I'm Judy Blackman, and
I'm Kim Blackman.
And we are your hosts today for Famous Ethnic Chefs of St. George. And this is going to be the first of 7 classes, 4 of which will be taped for YouTube. We've been married for 53 years, and people always ask us what is our secret. And I decided it's good food.
We both were born and raised in the Bronx. You may have figured that out. In fact, I was raised in a pretty tough neighborhood of the Bronx, and basically the Bronx in those days was a tough place. It still is. In fact, when Judy and I met, we met the first day of being newbie teachers at a school in the South Bronx in a neighborhood called Fort Apache, the Bronx. And it was renowned neighborhood. The teachers were met at the subway station. You take the subway to school, that's not unusual. And the teachers were met by the police who walked them to the school. And it was such a bad neighborhood that Paul Newman made a movie called Fort Apache, the Bronx, which I think he wrote it, directed it, and starred in it.
Well, I grew up in a multi-ethnic community with typical New York small neighborhood restaurants, Italian, Greek, Jewish, Chinese, and no American restaurants really, except for those corner candy stores that had burgers, basically. And my mom was an interesting cook. She was very good at cooking Jewish dishes, which she learned from her grandmother. And those she did without any recipes. And she made delicious holiday meals. But she never used a recipe and never really went outside her lane, so to speak.
And my mother was an artist, and she was a very creative being. And when she cooked, if she made something we actually liked, we could count on never seeing it again, because I don't know if you know artists and creative people, they don't want to do the same thing twice. So we knew that was great, and that was the end of it. My extended family, with whom we were very close, included my uncle, who owned a chain of restaurants in New York called Cookies, and everybody knew Cookies. There were 13 or 14 restaurants, and on a busy week we fed 40,000 people full sit-down meals. And one of the restaurants had about 700 people. Judy and I got married in one of them, and I learned a lot about the restaurant business and food. My family never stopped talking about food, arguing about food. It was just a constant, and I guess it's still with me.
Well, Kim and I are a blend of all that heritage, and you'll find us frequently cooking and baking and most of all eating.
So, I always felt, I mean, we've been living here for 6 years, but we've been coming here for 18 years. And seeing the cooking scene here and the restaurant scene, I always felt there was an opportunity and a need for folks to learn a little bit more about ethnic cooking. And when we offered this class this year, you all the lucky ones or the smart ones, because it got closed out maybe in 30 minutes. And so congratulations to you. And we, of course, were thrilled to see that. And now we hope to live up to what we promised. When we come back, we'll introduce Chef Amy, learn a little bit about his background and something about the food that he's going to make for us. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
You may have heard that the American Legion helps honor our fallen heroes.
Or that the American Legion helped write the GI Bill, enabling veterans to get a college education.
And yeah, you've heard us tell a good story or two.
But did you know that the American Legion does so much more for our veterans?
From advocacy on Capitol Hill to serving others in our communities, the American Legion continues its tradition of strengthening America through service.
Learn more about supporting veterans in your community by visiting legion.org.
Hi, Chef Amy. Let's
Hi,
talk.
how are you today?
Good. How are you? Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood in Budapest, Hungary?
Who should I remember? Yes,
Not that long ago.
I can remember still like happened yesterday. Yes, I was born and raised in Hungary, particularly in a great plain. So no mountains, no ocean, just a land, whatever far you want to see, but the beautiful animals and the wonderful people.
Okay. And can you give us a little quick summary about your experience opening up in St. George?
You know, I was born and raised in Hungary, just like I said, and I grew up under the communist regime, Russian, Soviet invasion and stuff. Wasn't the best thing. I don't want too much talk about it. Beginning was kind of bloody. After that, a little bit mellow, and doesn't matter. It's just communism with my rate is not possible. It's not going to happen. Not going to work. Plus, it was not really what the Hungarians want. We did what the Soviet Union made us to do, and only good things was the education and the health service was free. So free education, I took all the advantage. I take every single courses in culinary you can have.
Thank you. Well, tell us a bit about how you got your first restaurant in St. George.
In St. George, first of all, when the communist regime started falling apart, we came to America to see how the West works. And I was part of the Hungarian delegation.
You know, I was interested in that when you told us that before. So in other words, did they take different, like they sent you to America because you knew the restaurant business, right?
Yes.
And food. And they want to see your perception of American restaurants.
Correct.
And then they took other people from other specialties, yeah?
Correct.
Okay, and you got sent here to St. George.
One of the places, yeah.
And anyway, the invitation was perfect. Instead, find us a hotel room or something like that. They find a host family. So I went to the Christians and family, and we're still best friends today, after so many years. And they showed me around St. George, Zion, Snow Canyon, malls, restaurants, everything. I fell in love with the city. It's beautiful. People are wonderful. The weather is mellow, nice. Country is just spectacular. Yeah. And the biggest things, it was touched me deeply inside. The security. You know, they took me to the mall, millions of cars, windows down, bag in a car, key in a car. I was like, hey, what's going on here?
Very different from
try this somewhere it doesn't matter, in Europe, a bigger city or whatever, good luck, yeah. Oh. You're gonna have car? No, you had car.
Okay, well, we're ready to start cooking?
I think so. Why don't you
Yes.
take us through how you make your goulash, which is very authentic.
Yes, I choose the goulash for to making today with the reason I was born and raised in a Great Plain. That particular food is from there. Plus, when I came, I realized some American people thinking about wrongful goulash. So when the immigrants comes, having trouble with the language, see me. The transition doesn't goes right, and put everything into it, became American goulash, kind of like a pasta and all kind of mumbo jumbo what you can find in the fridge. And they showed me as a goulash, and I hold my head and yeah. Yeah. So Plus, in my restaurant is goulash is one of the best sellers. People loves it. I grew up on that, certainly I love it. And easy to make at home, unique, and very flavorful. It's just winter coming, holiday, absolutely gorgeous to make a goulash.
You know, he told us that this began, this dish, goulash, from Cowboys.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, basically what does that mean? The Guya is a herd.
Hungarian Cowboys.
Yes. The Guya is a herd, so cows. And the Goulash is the guy who take care of the herd. Basically, the American cowboy became a Goulash. So Guya, Goulash. And those people was taking care of the herd in other side of the cities in a free range, you know. They have to make a food for themselves. They had a Dutch oven, open fire, and they use the ingredients what this area provided for them. Which one was large from the pig at home. Onions is a great climate and the soil for onions, and the paprika. The paprika it's very important. The Hungarian paprika is the best in the world. You know, every country has something unique. The Hungarians, definitely the paprika is one of them. All the rest of them, no matter how you fast, how you good, you're gonna taste the burn flavor because the burning point is very low. The Hungarians is a little bit more able to have the heat and also beautiful color.
It's more forgiving, right?
Yes, and the gorgeous taste also. That's probably the most important when we're gonna cooking for how you using the paprika. There's only one way and has to be that way. That's not my way, that's the paprika's way.
Okay, so should we get started?
Yeah, let's start. So first of all, the best to get non-stick pan. Not necessary to very expensive or any special. Non-stick is good because the paprika is very sensitive. So if you're not careful enough, it's gonna stick in the bottom. Now that's gonna burn. And if it's burned, you can give it to the neighbor you don't like very much. So first of all, we're using a lard. If you don't like a lard, you can substitute with oil.
You can use olive oil.
Or vegetable oil.
Or vegetable oil, or fryer oil. Anything which one can take the heat. Definitely no butter. That's no. So, thinking about the lard, I know people like healthy food lately, and it is nothing wrong with it. That's a great thing.
Healthy food, no, nothing wrong with that.
That's great things. But what I think is a goulash not very healthiest, but very flavorful, very enjoyable. You can make it even if you using glass your car and the drive-through and a little bit workout and do something. So when I was grow up, we walked to the school 4 miles every day. Sun, rain, below zero, no problem. People went to work, walk, bicycle, things like that. Today, everybody sitting in a lazy chair, watching TV, having chips, you know, go to the drive-through, and after that, blaming on food. Yeah, healthy food is good, no problem, but not necessary. A horse has a back, you know. This side is not correct, this side is not correct. So, if you eat everyday goulash and you do not exercise, now you're gonna be a Michelin baby. But if not every day and a little bit, you take care of yourself also, instead finding the food bad, it's not that bad. So we're gonna have the lard melt. The first thing you put into it is the onions. The onions, make sure not burn, just a little bit like a glassy, have all the flavors.
Glossy.
And after that, by the way, the most important, every ingredients when you're cooking has to be ready, prepared, nearby your food. So you can focus on the cooking, you can focus on the food, and you can put a little love in it. See that sign? I put it down, love. And guess what?
Just let me say one thing. Everybody's going to get an email with the step-by-step instructions on how to do this, the ingredient list, the quantities. You'll all get that after the class.
So back to the love. Anything you do, you have to be in love. Otherwise, you're not going to be a good technician. You're definitely not going to be a good chef.
What did you say? You have to love it?
Yeah. And you have to be a good husband. You have to love it too. So the love is very important. So I put my heart into the food and on a plate when I'm serving my guests. And this is not a big talk. Trust me. I feel that way. Probably I have to thank it to my first teacher who trained me that way. How you put the food on a plate, that's how you're cooking, focus, attention, all those, and I love it. I just love it. Eat it too, but make it too. And because I love you, I love to make it for you. So that makes the fine dining for me, not a fancy schmancy. That makes a fine dining. A fine with the love. So we have ready the onions. Now we're gonna put a little bit of heat in there. That is depends how much you can have. A little crushed pepper. That's gonna be
Not too much.
not too much. You know, when you're cooking for everybody, you don't go crazy. If I'm cooking for myself, that's gonna be half full.
Not for me. I don't like heat.
And the next is a paprika, a pepper. The pepper takes a little bit longer than tomato, so I'm starting with the pepper. As soon as I start to sweat, I'm gonna have a tomato coming in. Now in America, million things is great, vegetables and the fruits, not that much. So I'm gonna use a little bit of tomato paste for increase the
Tomato flavor.
flavor of the tomato. Yeah, I work too much with the Italian Culinary Association also, and in Tuscany, I learned how is the real flavor of the tomato, so I'm kind of picky with that.
Which kind of tomatoes do you recommend to put in your goulash?
Wine ripe, more flavorful, better. If you have a chance and you have a good store like a Harmon's nearby, and they have Kumato tomato. The Kumato tomato
the
is
dark
like a
ones,
dark green, a reddish combination. A little bit expensive, but that is probably the closest to the good Italian tomato. If not, get the plum tomato in can. Find which one really came from Italy.
Yeah, we like the
Exported from Italy.
Marzano one.
Right. we
And,
use that. have you all
really
seen that San Marzano?
San Marzano.
That's
And
the
that
ones.
that is definitely better. Or I like to use a fresh. I just have to increase a little bit the flavor for that. So I got all these beautiful ingredients
Smells good, huh?
now
Yeah, it smells wonderful.
ready. Paprika comes. So please be careful with that here. So I put
Look
the
how much it
paprika,
is. A lot of paprika.
just a little bit. You know, like emerald with the garlic, you know? Chefy me with the
Bum, right.
paprika, bam!
Right.
It's a beautiful
So-
color, though.
That paprika is a beautiful,
Yes.
bright red.
Totally.
And here comes the most important. Since I stir it, right now, I have to put the liquid into it. So that makes,
Is that broth?
that is a big broth. That makes the paprika become a sauce. If you're too quick with the liquid, the paprika gonna be separated, come up to the top. If you're too late, the paprika gonna be born. So here comes your focus, your love, and as soon as you stir it, right now, liquid, and stir it. I'm gonna a little bit lift it up to the camera to see this beautiful color. And it's like a sauce. And that was it. So because of the liquid, I'm waiting for just about a half a minute to vaporize the liquid. And I'm gonna add the tenderloin cubes into it. So that meat you can have either beef, pork, veal, or lamb, or chicken. I like to use the tenderloin. The original or popular meal is made from leg. To make this kind of like no high-end, I like to use the tenderloin, better quality of meat, a little bit faster also.
Okay, well, while that's stirring up, we are going to start getting ready for the spretzel, and we'll be right back.
What if the end of the trail is just the beginning? The land of discovery is calling. Rise to it.
Chef Amy is now going to show us how to make the spretzel.
So now we have the goulash cooking. The timing is about hour and 15 minutes for if you make it from tenderloin. If beef, pork, or veal, or chicken, that time gonna be different. Great, just try to with the fork, and when fork tender is ready, make sure frequently stir it when you're passing around every 3-4 minutes, not to have a paprika to burn into the bottom. So while the goulash is getting happy, we're gonna start with the Hungarian shaped German Spätzle, Hungarian style. So the reason why I like to use the Spätzle word, because the Hungarian name Galska or Nokedli not gonna make any clue in this area to anybody. The Spätzle is somehow more common. And because all those countries in Europe next to each other, like Nevada to Florida to Utah or whatever, nearby each other, they do each other's cooking or using certain things. Same Spätzle and the Hungarian Nokedli is the same dough, just the shape is different. The German Spätzle is longer, more like a macaroni. The Hungarian is more like a dumplings, but exactly the same dough. Exactly the same dough. So the dough is very, very easy. You don't have anything else but a little flour, eggs, and a little tiny parsley, and salt, and water. After that, I'm gonna saute a little bit in the goat cheese cream. That is just one area does in Hungary with the goulash. I really love it this way, the creamy goat cheese feel, Spätzle is just very good pairing with the goulash. Everybody's tastes different, mine is that. So how to make a Spätzle? My mother used to do that from the cutting board with the knife or spoon, doesn't matter. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, she made it for 4 people or 6. I make them sometimes for 80. That's a little different. You know, 1 to 80 like that, it's gonna take a little while. So the funny part, you can just get a pizza pan and make sure you have a boiling water. Any pasta, also like the Spätzle, is the most best if the water is a lot and a very high temperature. A lot because when you put the pasta into it, it's going to chill down the water. So it's a less temperature water makes the pasta soggy and mushy.
I have a question. At home, when we make it, should we use a pot this size?
Bigger is better.
Even
So with the water, you're not gonna make anything wrong, just better with that. So the salt into the water is important, but not the beginning. Let them boiling first, the water, because the salt takes the heat off. And just after that, so I salted the water, not because it was boiling, and I wait to come up the temperature. Until that, I'm gonna create the dough very quickly. So dough is very easy. I'm gonna use a little bit more at this time than the recipe says, because I would like to do this for more people to enjoy it.
I like to see how he opens the eggs.
Do you know why I'm breaking the eggs on a table instead here?
Yep.
Right.
So you don't get the little shells in your mixture.
That's right. Is the shell, are you sure 100%?
It's also healthier, I've read, to break your egg on this
yeah.
rather than on the edge. Yeah,
Why?
because eggs are not washed, or even if they are washed, the
So,
outside carries
we have a
some
flour,
germs.
we have eggs, a little bit of salt, a little tiny pepper. I like to use a fresh one, both. And a little bit of parsley. That not gonna make too much difference, but a good color. And I'm just gonna break the egg, stop on that, and stir it, stir it, stir it. As soon as the eggs incorporate into the flour, the eggs basically gonna be the cement. That's the cement of the pasta. That's why certain Italian pasta you don't have to rinse it, because no eggs, just semolina, you know, no cement. If you rinse it after you cook it, you wash it off the whole pasta. That one you can chill it down if you want to use partial or later. You can make it a head and just rinse it a little bit and spray it with a little bit of oil, shake it up not to stick together, and later you can just dip it into the hot boiling water and reserve it for a dinner or something like that. So after that, we only need a water. Yes, now we add the water, and the dough become nice and heavy, come off easily from the bowl. That makes you sure is ready to cooking. So now I put the pizza pan on, and a little bit at a time. Don't make it all at once, because the pasta gonna cool the water down, and it's not gonna be a good texture.
You want to keep the
not
water
gonna be
hot.
good. Exactly. That's why I use more water, better pasta.
Okay, you don't need a Williams Sonoma pasta maker after you've seen this.
So that much at once is just a perfect amount. You set on the side. You wait really quick, just 1, 2, 3, and the pasta will come off, flow up to the.
Wow, it smells so good.
I don't know how it smells out there, but we are in torture waiting.
Oh, it's coming up.
And for the spätzle, we're gonna create a little bit of half and half deal that gonna give a nice, really nice flavor for the spätzle and the goat cheese. You don't like a goat cheese? Don't worry about it, don't put it into it. You can use the spätzle just plain, no problem, or mix it up in the pot like this. You see the beautiful spätzle already cooked.
Whoa, that looks good.
We've had that at the restaurant, and it's really good, even
Yes.
with even with cheese. especially with cheese, I would say.
Yes, and I do have guests who request, can I have without cheese? Yes, sure, no problem. Yes, no problem. That is not necessary, that's optional. You like it, you use it. If you don't like it, just have a plain spatula, that's great also. So one more time. I have a scraper, I have a nice pan top, like a pizza, and just scrape it into it, push it down.
Okay, well, now that the pretzel's almost ready, we'll be right back so you can all taste it.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
So now, Judy, we can start plating the
Well,
goulash.
first I want to introduce our guests, Terry and Brent, who are going to be our lucky first testers. So you go ahead. By the way, you are very fortunate because this is a special
I don't know
tasting.
how much is lucky or fortunate, but at least you don't have to come to the Aragosta for tasting it. But you can come for taste the other food. You know, the most important part of the dining, how you put the food on a plate, because that shows how you're cooking also. With love, with respect, gonna be a nice plate. Everybody eating with the eyes first. And you know, the people who just throw the food on a plate, that's how they cooking also. So no pay attention on the details. And again, talking about love, I love my guests. So I want to make sure, it's a nice one. Perfect, no burn,
Oh, that looks
no
good.
less, no more. And look great. Because I really want you to enjoy it. If you have a restaurant, you have to watch about the money because you need to grow the bank account. But when I'm cooking, I don't think with the money. And I just want to make it nice, make you enjoy it, like it. This is a fresh deal, a fresh edible baby orchid created direct for culinary arts, and a few size of paprika. Voila.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
This should end right here.
And here is the other one.
I'm going to get you a book. We don't have any books out here, but I do have them. Okay, right here.
Art class as well. Look at that. Art.
Yes, that's right. All right, anybody signed up for my art class tomorrow? You're seeing art right now.
Yeah,
I
we
usually said
both have it. And then
art from the heart.
Art from the heart. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was my pleasure to see you today and cooking with you. If you ever have any difficulties, you know my number. My number is the restaurant number. Something you forget about it or something like that, just give me a call. I'm more than happy to, over the phone, help you to finish that meal. And you're always welcome to a restaurant. Here you are. Enjoy the
we'll have a taste and let us know how it is.
All right.
So good.
Oh man.
As good as it smells.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chef Emily. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Brent and Terry.
Thank you.
And
Everybody,
our
thank you
audience
for
for
coming,
coming.
and everybody's been anxiously waiting for this moment, I'm sure. Now's the time.